What's up guys, David Land here bringing you another Diecast review. This time we're taking a look at the Shelby Collectibles 1966 Ford GT40 Mark II from the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans. This car is significant because it was the second place finisher with Ken Miles and Dennis Hulme behind the wheel. Now there's some controversy into that we'll get into later on, but I picked this car up at Toys R Us for $42, $46 after tax, and wow, what a deal these Shelby Collectibles are, and we're going to get into a lot of that. Clearly, visually, you guys can tell because it's a raced version of a diecast for $40, 1/18 scale. Just for comparison, Indy cars, the 1/18 scale Indy cars brand new are $65, and then Lionel 124s, just the basic versions, are running upwards of $70 now. So again, clearly, huge deal. But anyway, this car is very, very significant because of course, as I mentioned, this finished second place at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Well, the first place car is the black one you can see in the background. That was driven by Chris Amon, who just passed away just a couple days ago, and Bruce McLaren. So that was the winner of the race, and it was Ford's first victory in the 24 Hours of Le Mans after they set out in 1964 to beat Ferrari. It's a fantastic story, by the way. If you can, read the book Go Like Hell by A.J. Baim. Fantastic read, all about the battles between Ford and Ferrari at Le Mans. So this was the first conquering of Le Mans by Ford. Of course, this year, Ford conquered Le Mans again in the GTE Pro class, the first time coming back with Ganassi Racing. That was a fantastic victory for them. You can see my cat, hello cat, in the background. But this is a fantastic model, and clearly my favorite of the three liveries from the Shelby American team that ran that year. There were actually two Ford teams, Shelby American and Hulme Moody. Of course, Shelby was the one who won, and he was the one who went down into history. So we'll get the diecast out of the way real quickly, just so I can show you the box. It also comes with a base that shows exactly what car it is. Of course, I've already said 1966 Ford GT40 Mark II about 100 times in this review. You can see Shelby Collectibles. You've got a background with the three Fords that cross the line 1, 2, 3. The first two, the 1 and the 2, are from the Shelby American team, and the number 5 is from the Hulme Moody team. You've got the Shelby Collectibles on the top, nothing on there, and then you've got a description of the GT40 here that hopefully, if you're in HD quality and a full screen, you'll be able to read. So here we go, a little bit more, scale 1/18, and then some interesting legal mumbo jumbo that I would suggest reading. Essentially it says, we tried to make this car as accurate as possible. And then you've got the Carroll Shelby Foundation. Of course, Carroll Shelby passed away in 2012. Obviously, he is very missed by the racing community. So let's take a look at the reason you're here, the diecast. So let's show off all the features of the diecast right off the bat, because I think this is the most interesting part. Clearly, it's a race version. Now, looking in photos from the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans, let me just kind of give a pan around of the car while I'm saying this. I can't really tell that this car was ever this dirty in the race. It's possible that it's just because they're old photographs and they don't capture the detail, obviously, that digital photography does nowadays. But I have a feeling if the car ever went off in a gravel trap at any time during the race, it probably looked like this. There is also a clean version available, so if you prefer the car to look pristine and showroom new, that option is also available to you. But personally, I prefer the weathered, grimy look of a car that looks like it's raced 24 hours. So, the first opening feature is this little hood right here. And it just pops open like that. And if you have a look inside, you get a fifth Goodyear racing tire. Now, interesting to note, the Goodyear tires back in these days had a blue stripe. Firestone tires had a yellow stripe. So just a little bit of useless trivia for you. Now, continuing on through the front of the car, there's another opening feature on this front of this car, and the entire hood peels back to give you an even better perspective of the front of the chassis. Of course, this is a mid-engined car, so the engine is in the rear. The GT40 is actually a Lola chassis, or at least began as a Lola chassis, but obviously it was designed and or really worked on by Ford to the point where it really wasn't a Lola anymore. And then there's an interesting note about the engine that I'll make when we get to the engine. And of course you get steering, which is always nice on a 1/18 scale car. We'll close up that for just now. We'll do a little exploded version or look at the end of the video, but I want to move this along. So let's take a look. You also get 2 opening doors. Now this is very interesting because then you get to have a close look at the cockpit detail, and there's actually a ton of cockpit detail. You even get the rear view mirror and a nice look at the. There's a dog barking. Stop barking. Anyway, we've got a look at the interior of the car and the seats, which is fantastic. Great detail. Just fantastic. There's not a lot else to say. I always have a hard time reviewing something I really like and is really well done because, of course, you know, I like it quite a bit. So we'll close the doors up for now and then take a look at the real meat of the car, which is the opening rear canopy, which opens to reveal this. I believe it's a Ford 427 engine, which actually is a derivative of the NASCAR version of this car, or this engine that was running at the time. But just fantastic detail on this whole car. I mean, again, I need to remind everyone, under $50, $46 out the door at Toys R Us for this. If anyone knows a better deal than that, I'd like them to stand up now and take a look. So let's just take a real quick close look at the weathering on the car. Just close up for you guys all to see. The tires are weathered, as is the body, mostly the underside, though there's quite a bit of weathering on the front of the car. I mean, it's just a fantastic, and the livery, it's not quite the Gulf colors. I know a lot of people would think it's a Gulf car, but it's not. Based on the livery, there were really no sponsors of racing back in these days. It was totally funded by Ford, and that's why you see no like SO logos or just only the Goodyear tire logos on the car. So let's take a look at this thing with all of the opening features opened up. And here is our GT40 all blowed up, as it were. Fantastic. I mean, I can't say enough. The quality is second to none. Again, green light, Lionel, what are you guys thinking? This is how you do a diecast. Fan-freaking-tastic. Now, I will say, I don't think Shelby America, since they gave Ford their first Le Mans win, somehow I feel that they don't have to pay royalties to Ford. I think Ford maybe gives them a little bit of a break. So yeah, this is probably a $70 diecast that doesn't have to pay royalties to Ford, but just fantastic. Let's see if I can pick this car up and move it around so you can see everything. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is the kind of stuff I really like to do. I love the classic diecast, particularly when they're historically significant like this one. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and maybe I'll do some more of these Shelby Collectibles. They're really high quality, and I would highly recommend getting them. If you're a Ford fan, a Le Mans fan, whatever, get them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe and like, and we'll see you in the next video.